Construction Code to help with that issue of supply. Well, joining us live is the Assistant Foreign Minister, Matt Thistlethwaite, the Liberal Senator, Maria Kovacic. Good morning to you both. So after criticising a few coalition policies, Matt, you've now adopted them. So why have you decided now that they're actually pretty good?
Well, Pete, we're announcing today that we're bringing forward the start date for the 5% deposit scheme for first home buyers. And we've always said if there are good policies, then we will adopt them. And
but didn't you criticise them in the past?
Ensuring the pause on the National Construction Code, saving for, of course, changes related to safety, will help speed up approvals, and we need to build more supply, and that's what this government is all about. When you look at the Housing Australia Future Fund and its allocation starting to build more social and affordable housing throughout the country, when you look at the massive investments that we're making in public housing, announcements yesterday such as the Minns government announcement about additional housing around public transport hubs like Wallara.
Yeah.
All of those policies
we'll get to that
are increasing housing supply for Australians.
But you criticise those policies pre-election, so why do you think now that they're good ones?
Well, Pete, we've always said that if there are good policies, then we will look at them.
Yeah, but you changed your mind.
We're not afraid to adopt them. We're not afraid to adopt them, and that's what's required in this environment where we do have challenges around housing affordability. That's why we're making those decisions. We're bringing forward this policy today that ensures that people who are first-home buyers don't need lenders' mortgage insurance. There's no caps on the number of people. There's no income limits. It just means that young Australians can get into the housing market with a 5% deposit.
I've just noticed some live pictures coming into us now of your boss, Matt, the Prime Minister there. He's got, there are those pictures there. So he's got that announcement coming right up on housing today. But Maria, over to you. I mean, if the government is copying your old policies, do you wear that as a badge of honour and do you presumably support the changes?
Well, where do you begin? Absolutely we want a simplified construction code. We've been talking about this for a long time and it was not supported by the government. Let's be clear, they bagged it out. They said this is really bad, this is dangerous, the coalition doesn't know what it's doing, the coalition wants dodgy housing, and now they're saying, oh, we'll back good policies if we see them. This was a good policy. The construction code is 2,000 pages long. That's 4 reams of paper. It's that tall. Can you imagine what it's like for an Australian construction business to wade through that? In relation to the changes to bringing forward to October the access to the 5% deposit scheme, this again was something that we introduced in 2020 under the Morrison government. So it's yet another one of our policies that this government has decided that they probably should adopt. But the problem is there's no supply side supports to this. So it's well and good to say everybody can access this fund, everybody can access the 5% deposit scheme, but where are the houses? There are no houses. It is very clear this government cannot build houses. They are building 30,000 houses less a year than the coalition did. That's 600 houses less a week under the Albanese government.
Well, I'll put that to Matt now. I mean, with such few homes coming on, Matt, won't this just lead to a spike in prices?
Well, we've got policies to increase supply and they're working. I met with a community housing provider a couple of weeks ago in my electorate. They're doing a development that will triple the number of homes on an existing public housing site. And it will be a mix of public housing, affordable housing for essential workers and ordinary housing open to the public. That's a classic example of a Labor policy. It comes through an allocation from the Housing Australia Future Fund, tripling the size of and the number of houses on an existing site in Sydney. And that's happening throughout the country, as well as the massive investments that we're making in directly building new social and affordable housing throughout the country. And then you couple that with decisions like the Minns government decision yesterday around Wallara Station and building more housing around transport hubs and freeing up those planning controls to ensure that you can get more housing around public housing, around public transport routes.
So the NIMBYs won't like that one. We'll close on this one. We've got a couple of Sydney-siders here today. You don't live there, Maria, I understand. You're in the western suburbs. But do you support these extra homes that are being built in Wallara?
We need to have extra housing across our country. We need to have them across New South Wales and across Sydney. That's the state that I represent. We need to ensure that it's sustainable and that it's fit for purpose. What's been very, very clear is the government can't build houses. Under the HAF that Matt talks about, they've built 13 houses and they've bought 300. So they're out there competing with first home buyers and other Australians to purchase homes. So, this government has no idea when it comes to housing supply.
So as Chris Minns pointed out, the Premier yesterday, Matt, that he believes the western suburbs is doing too much of the heavy lifting when it comes to new homes. So do you believe that more should be done in the east? More high-rise, high-density apartments?
Where there are public transport routes, that's important, I think. So that's the importance of the announcement that was made yesterday. It's around a mass transit public transport route, and that's the key. You need those public transport routes so that people can get around. So where they're being built, yes, it is appropriate to have more density. And in the electorate that I live in Kingsford Smith, we're seeing that along the light rail corridor that goes all the way to the University of New South Wales. You're now getting increases in the density because you've got that mass public transport to help people get around. That's the key.
All right. So it is housing that leads off debate this week now that Parliament returns. Thank you both this morning. We'll see you again next week. We're off to a break, but coming up, a lot